our information is stored nowadays in the clouds. So there are parts of our history, of our work history, of our emotional history. If you think about pictures or video that we took in the past 20 years, travel, work travel, or touristic travels that we had in the past. So there is a cloud that is storing all this information. Someone is getting access to this information without having the right, and they are using this information, renting, and sometimes they are buying our names and connecting with our names all our histories, and they play games in a world that is virtual but is affecting the real, because someone is financing lies in the virtual, but they are creating lies in the reality. In the virtual, doesn't matter if it is a lie or not. But if you apply these lies in the real life, in the real world, it's going to affect real lives, real people. But because people is not only names, they are bodies, they are emotions, they are histories, there are real living people in their lives. And I've been exposed for many years to this kind of phishing. The first subjects that are doing this are politicians. Politicians are owning data, and they are doing it. In the past, they did a very bad job. They rent our data, they sold our data. At one point, they played that game and they lost. They gain money for themselves, opportunities for themselves privately. They increases their wages, and it's not only about politicians. For managers of universities, they are working with information. They are selling information and lies at the same time, working, collecting clicks, and getting money from their own wages. Universities are not about wages, big wages for the managers of the university. Universities are about information. It's about giving people the information about species, it's about animals, about humans, about real identities. Science is based on not only on lies. Is not based on lies at all. Science, for definition, is based on truth. So if you work with the information of the knowledge, you are destroying the institutions, converting an institution like universities and knowledge in a wage, in money, in something that is private, is individual, is an individual convenience. Any university is not a manager of the university. It's not it's not only business sector in a university. It has to be financed in a different way, based on not on lies, because knowledge in science is based on real information, on truths, not on lies. This is the definition, the identity of the university itself, of the knowledge. You can identify university with the knowledge itself, but knowledge is identified. You can identify knowledge with truth about species, about animals, as I said. The same thing it happens with people. People are not names. People are not only history or records. People are living bodies and emotions. They are still alive, and they are facing destructions of their economic records. They have economic records, which are not the same thing of bank records. You can have a lot of bank credits, but you can lose every single credit in that virtual, which is managing the entire jobs, the world of jobs. So you can have a lot of money, can get a lot of you can have a lot of bank credits, in terms of you paid your bills and you're good creditor and you're a good person because you don't have debts, because you pay for your bills, because you close your mortgages, because you own things and you pay for, you don't have debts with banks, so you have a good credit. But at the same time, even if you have a good credits, you could have a bad credit in that financial world of lies, and that world is managing and is the commander of the jobs. This is the absurd things. uh, One of the absurd things that are happening and are destroying the life of many people. 1% of people are getting rich. The rest, 99%, is getting poor. I came here last week. Nobody was in this hotel. This hotel usually is always full of people. Now is completely empty, and there are people coming just for one day, for two days, and there is a big crisis entire in all the Western countries. These are not considered, Cuba are not considered Western countries because they have been set in a timeline that is not in the timeline, in economic timeline, and not in the top but in the bottom. Why? Because of the are not considered countries, developed countries. They are considered almost third world countries. But they still have access to that financial system that is financing lies with lies. And financing lies with lies means destroying lives at one point. It's not a game of words. Is a game that for someone, for 1% of the of rich people, is just a game. They're having fun. But for the majority of people, the workers, the people that really do the activity, they do an activity, they do a job, they work, they wake up every day to have to work hard, and they have been, and their lives have been for 20, 30 years, like I did. For 30 years I've been working hard, and someone at one point stole my credits. I still have bank credits, a lot of bank credits, but I lost completely my the credit in that virtual world that is ruling the world of jobs. And at one point I'm negative. Now I'm negative. I don't have debts. I have a good bank credits, but I'm in debt. And even my identity is has been stolen many times by Italians, by Canadians, by people that are acting in a criminal way, not following following the rules of their, because even individual there are rules, but there are rules much more that can be forced by someone that is possible to finance lies in the same, and put a lie in the same level of a truth. So identities, people are not named, but my name has been stolen many times. It's been 30 years. Maybe I lost the right to study, the access to the university, access to many jobs. I've been abused so many times, like many millions of people. Many of these millions decided to suicide because at one point they didn't have credits to get a job. Because to get a job, you need to have credits in the virtual. If you don't work in the B2B and you work in the B2C, you're affected much more. So you could have a very good, as I said, a very good levels of bank credits, but don't have credits for jobs. So you cannot apply. If you go down in negative, you don't have access to any company. The result is that many companies closed now. So there is a lack of jobs, especially for women that have been used like objects in that system, more than men, much more than men, because in that financial system, men have a power much more higher than women. So women are not subject that can take decisions, they can make business. They are submitted to business of someone that is in relatives or husbands or in general men. So men owns women, and people are owned by politicians, corrupted politicians that use the data and have been using data of citizens of their countries for many years. And the results is the exodus. So millions of people from Italy, from Cuba, from Russia, from other countries, even Western countries nowadays. 70 years ago, it happened only in the Eastern countries. So those people, very specialized with very good specialization, especially artists, they came in the Western country and have been stolen by their identities. And sometimes they have they happen and occur the tragedies, even in lives of artists that we know nowadays, very important, very celebrities, they face this problem because this financial system is based on lies, is based on owning people. Nobody has to be allowed to own people or women or sell people, because they're not only selling names, they are selling our opportunities. And when we are talking about the opportunities, we are talking about lives, because if you don't work for a certain number of years, you're not going to pay your bills, you're not going to pay your mortgage, you're not going to pay your debts. And at one point many people decided to suicide. This is the reality nowadays. Nobody's talking about it. No social media, no media, no newspaper, no magazine is talking about. And this is a tragedy, because we are still alive, and we know, we have been informed that politicians from Italy, from Canada, or people, normal people that just we met 10 years ago, we are citizens, it's been 20 years, but Canadian citizens, but someone is declaring us still resident in Italy, or as a Cubans, or from Switzerland, or from countries that were never been. And this is a tragedy, because the world is imploding. It's not only about nomenclature of limneo, which is adopted in the entire world. Eastern country, China, Japan, Russia, everywhere is adopted the limneos nomenclature for science, which is based on truth, not on lies. And we have the right to know the right information. We are humans. We are interested in sciences. We have the right to know the difference between one fish and another, from one dog and another, from one cat and a dog and another species. We have the right to remember reading, because we are not supposed to know everything, and we do have we have the right to digitalize, to connect in internet, get the real information, just googling a name. The information is money, but the information of science is a right, is a right, so has to be free. Science has to be, the information about science has to be free. The general information about species, as an example. In the US has been adopted another nomenclature, a nomenclature for stupid people like us, because you have been put in the bottom of the society, treated like animals, people that don't have interest, that don't have, the nomenclature is just one, and we have to learn that nomenclature. Okay, there are 20, 50 types, species of the same animals, but in the case we are interested in knowing the difference, because we are tourists, and we decide to have a trip and to visit a national park, and we need to know the truth about species. For the languages as well has been economized. For each word there is a value. So even when we are talking, we are making money, allowing someone else to make money from what we are saying. There are languages that have many more terms. British, the difference between British American or British English or British English, American English, or the difference between Italian, which is a language that have many more words that can explain many more concepts. Because when we are talking about shines, we need a lot of words, a lot of terms, and if there are the thousand terms to define different species, we need every single term. We need to use it. We need to use every single word. We don't have to miss to cut off our dictionaries for the interest of people that don't care about universities, don't care about knowledge, don't care about science, and most of all, they don't care about lives. They are destroying the world. They are getting money from identities just because they are politicians, corrupted people, or the people that have access to that cloud where our data are recorded. And this is a tragedy. Yes, it is a tragedy. Nobody is caring about. This is not financing. This system is not financing. It is sucking information about identities. It's destroying lives. It's destroying companies. It's destroying places. Places are not only are about geography, not only borders. Borders are not important. Could change. People are not so much connected with places unless they don't decide to immigrate in another country. And what is creating this financial system, this based on a virtual liar system, is creating exodus, is creating millions of people that decided to expatriate from their countries just because they don't have a credit, a virtual credit. I don't know how to call him, how to name it, but it's based on a credit that is not a real credit. Is a credit, is a fake credit based on lies. And when you lose it, the fact is that when you lose this credit based on a virtual world based on lies, you lose you actually lost the possibility of to get opportunities in the B2C world of which is for many of us the world where we apply for companies to get a job, to get money, to get opportunities, wherever it is. It's not only about jobs. It is about existence. It's about identities. I want to talk about this. I had decided to first. What another problem is the Paraiso Island. There are maybe 10 or 20 Paraiso Islands around Cuba. Every island is named Paraiso. Cuba itself is a paraiso. Paraiso means parada, paradise. But the fact is that nomenclature in geography, we need to put this, if these countries are a part of that financial system, they have to declare their geography. They have to name that island, every single island, especially if they are doing tourism in those islands. So there are little companies that they are doing fishing on individuals. They are taking data. They are playing with their data. Using the system of different timelines. Countries, very poor countries like this, they have been set in a timeline that is not the same timeline of Western countries. So this is the reason, because they feel free to steal every single data. But the fact is that it's affecting the individuals. When we come home, we could be affected by this usage of our data. So it's not the way to do globalization. Globalization has to be managed in a different way. There is not a virtual that is where money is that can finance jobs or opportunities if it is based entirely of lies. Nowadays is doing this, is happening this, is based entirely of lies, is affecting lives of real people, living people that are losing opportunities, are facing isolation, they are facing psychiatric problems, because if you don't get a job for many years, you don't pay your bills, as I said, and so you can get very depressed, and this could create especially if you're aware that someone is still stealing from your files, from your history. We should ask, as a humanity, not as a Western people, but as a humanity, that our credits has been recalculated based on truth, but based on the real activity that we did. Because the only subjects that have an activity, a real work, the people that who worked are the people that has been have been kept ignorance. They need people is not ignorant. People has been kept not informed to be used, especially women, to be used like objects. We are not objects. We are the ones that work for make other people rich, tracking all the time our life, our trips, our travels. So and also we need a good quality tourism based on safety. This country, these poor countries, they are part of they are working in a financial virtual system of but they cannot afford safety, especially when there are excursions. 2 years ago, I exposed myself to a risk because that little company that brought me in that island, the Paraiso Island, where Iguana, they are still the same iguanas. So I have all the pictures and all the videos. That they live for 65, from 40 to 65 years. So they are very. They're still there. So I remember the island. So I don't need to go there, especially right now, because currently the crisis, people is getting even more poor. So we don't know if it happens, if it happened a tragedy of whatever, or you don't feel you feel or you have a breakdown, or you have how can I say, or you don't feel okay. There is nothing. There is no insurance that can. There is not insurance, so there is not a system of safety that can support a good quality tourism. So I decided to not to go there. And but I've been there 2 years ago. 2 years in 2003, in the October 2003, I show you something. But the point is not about iguanas. I love iguanas no more than any other species of animals. The point is that this financial system is affecting lives, is affecting truths, is affecting shines, is stealing us from the right to know things the way they are. And we are identities. We are the real people. So we have all the interest to the ones that work for 20, 30 years. We need we still have bills to pay. We still have a life to live. We want to continue to have good and unless at least an idea of the future. Now we don't have an idea of future. So there is a problem of the information. Science of information is something that is has to be considered, that there are countries that are working to create confusion, not to make business, but to create a desert. A desert, not a dessert. We are the dessert. Women are becoming cakes for these subjects, because women don't have any power to represent themselves, even in business. They don't have they cannot have an identity. They have to use their husband identities, their boyfriend identities, their relatives identities. They cannot do business, but they have been used. So that system is totally criminal. Is against humanity. Is against the human rights. Is doing a lot of abuses. I've been exposed to many abuses, and I've been pushed to out of Italy because there were no credits anymore. The tragedy is that the credit in the virtual is calculated globally. So if you don't have credit in your original country, you don't have a credit in the new country where we choose to stay. We ask to recalculate those credits with the position where we are, where we are resident citizens. We are Canadians. We are not in Italy anymore. We are working in Canada. We have been working in Italy, and we want that experience to be considered for 20, 30 years. Especially because we came here when we were 35, 40 years. So we need that experience to be used as a reputation to find a new job, to work in a country that is not is our country. So we need to work even in there. We have been told that our standards are too high and we cannot be included in that system. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's against human rights. So we have the right to be to have a credit, a new credit recalculated on our real history. Our real history means all our the jobs that we did, the jobs that we the companies that we work for, the trips that we did. All our history has to be considered and connected with our names. Nobody has to be has to use our names without our consents. And because with globalization we cannot talk about nations of governments if we don't talk about rights, human rights. There are not nations where there are not humans or human rights. So there are no flags. When you apply a system, a financial system globally, there are not flags that can justify the usage of our data against our interests. Have a nice day. Bye.